Okay, we are continuing in Sefer Ha-Aggadah, skipping all the plagues and the Exodus itself, and looking at certain details of the Exodus that maybe we don't pay attention to usually, but the rabbis did. So on the first volume of Sefer Ha-Aggadah, page 53, we find an entry about Arono Shel Yosef. The Torah says, so the Torah says, ויקח משה את עצמות יוסף עמו, כי השביע את בני ישראל לאמור פקוד יפקוד אלוהים אתכם ועליתם את עצמותיי מזה איתכם. The Torah says that when as they were leaving Egypt, Moshe went and retrieved the coffin of Yosef, which was probably very heavy because he was embalmed according to the Egyptian tradition. And after embalming, usually they would put one coffin within another coffin to protect the body. Anyway, this is what Moshe took care of. When you look at the pshat of the pasuk, just what the Torah says, it is very interesting that the Torah highlights this point. Because we go back to the end of Sefer Bereshit, and Yosef tells Bnei Israel, when you go out of Egypt, don't forget to take me with you. And the Midrash later on makes the point, it's a reminder to the brothers, as if he's rebuking them. You sold me as a slave, and that's why I'm here on Egypt. Don't forget to amend that by taking me with you. And Midrash says it's as if someone goes into a wine cellar and drinks wine without permission, and the owner comes and says, listen, you drank the wine already, at least put the jug back in place. In the words of the Midrash, יערב לכם, יבוסם לכם, שתיתם את היין, החזירו את הקנקן למקומו. At least be polite and put the jug or the jar back in place. So this is what Yosef tells him, take me back to Eretz Israel. That's one.
Is that why he was embalmed?
No, he was embalmed because he was royalty. Because that's the royal treatment that the Egyptian gave to.
Jews are not allowed to.
Well, we had a long class on that when we spoke about yes. Okay. Yes, Yaakov also was embalmed. Right. Yosef was embalmed, right? And the rabbis would discuss that, say that when it's done likvod hamet, in honor of the dead or in honor of the living, it's allowed to do that. In any case, Yosef did went through the process. The other thing is that, for one, as I said, it's the closure of what happened with him and the brothers. Second, it's the kind of the symbol of the Geulah, the redemption, because he was the first one who came to Egypt. So when he brought everybody with him, so when his coffin comes out, it shows that the redemption now is complete. The third point, and I think that's the interesting thing when the Torah says that Moshe did that it's as if, if let's say we had one of those hovering cameras, or in a helicopter or something, like takes a video of Yetziat Mitzrayim, what is happening right there, and you see the commotion. Everybody's going from house to house. They're gathering silver and gold because God says, go borrow from your neighbors. That's your opportunity to empty them. Take whatever you want. And everybody is with that commotion. And as you see, you zoom in, one person alone walks in a completely different direction. That's Moshe. He goes to take care of the coffin, of the promise that was made to Yosef. And it happens a lot that you within a great commotion, everybody takes care of themselves, maybe in a selfish way, maybe in a more, planning for the future state of mind. But then there was one person who does what really has to be done. Because if there was one promise involved in the whole process, that was the promise. Who would take care of it? Moshe says, nobody's going to do it, I'm going to do it, right? But the Torah takes note of that. If he thought that it's going to go unnoticed, it did not go unnoticed. The Torah makes note of it to say, you see, that's a great man. Because he rose to the task and he went and he did it himself. So that's why the Torah singles him out, that he took care of that. And there's a way that Chachamim say, she'en anashim, ishtadel liyot ish, that where there's no leadership, you assume leadership. And we know that, from studies that were conducted that when you have a task at hand and there are many people available to do it, it's probably not going to be done. Because each one will think the other one will take care of it. So to be that one who says, I don't know if other people are going to do it or not, but I'm going to take care of it, it's important. That's the pshat. Now let's look at the midrash. Shanu hachamim. בואו וראה כמה חביבות מצוות על משה רבנו, שכל ישראל כולם נתעסקו בביזה, והוא נתעסק במצוות. So the rabbis highlight the point that I just said. He said, look how Moshe Rabbeinu cares about the mitzvot, and in this case it's the promise that was given to Yosef, that the whole nation is busy with looting the Egyptians, but he takes care of that. ומנין היה יודע משה רבנו היכן יוסף קבור? How did he know the burial place of Yosef? אמרו, סרח בת אשר נשתיירה מאותו הדור, הלך משה אצלה, אמר לה, כלום את יודעת היכן יוסף קבור? The only one who survived from the generation of Yosef was Serah, the daughter of Asher. So they said, maybe she knows. So they went to her. And Moshe says, do you know where Yosef is buried? אמרה לו, ארון של מתכת עשו לו מצרים, ושיקעו בתוך נילוס הנהר, כדי שיתברכו מימיו. Says that what they did, they made a coffin, a metal coffin, which by the way is possible. It's not far-fetched, because the Egyptians used to do a golden coffin within a wooden one. So they said, but they sunk the coffin into the river, into the Nile, because they believed that Yosef was a manifestation of the divine powers. Like they consider him as a god or demigod. So they thought if they put his coffin in the river, in the Nile, it will bless the water of the Nile. The sages of Pharaoh told them you should do that, so they will never be able to take the blessing out of Egypt. So Moshe goes. There are two versions to how Moshe was able to retrieve the coffin, and then I'll say that, then we'll go back to why is it that Serah bat Asher is the carrier of that message. So Moshe goes to the river and he says, יוסף, יוסף, הגיע העת שנשבע הקדוש ברוך הוא לגאול את ישראל, והגיע השבועה שהשבעת את ישראל. The time has come, he speaks to Yosef. Now it's up to you. השכינה מעוכבת לך, ישראל מעוכבים לך. אם אתה מראה עצמך, מוטב. ואם לאו, הרי אנו נקיים משבועתך. He said, we are all waiting for you. If you want to show yourself, תפדל, we're waiting for you. If not, we're absolved, because I cannot do more than that. מיד התחיל ארונו של יוסף מפעפע וצף, ועלה מן התהומות כקנה ונטלו משה. And so it started floating, and he took it out. The message of this midrash is that even when you want to fulfill a promise or to be faithful to the commitment you made, there's a sort of limit to what you can do. You do everything within your power, and if it worked, it worked. Sometimes the other party has to show us. In this case, it's really God who wants to redeem Bnei Israel Mitzrayim, and this is the last thread that still tethers them to Mitzrayim. So God helps them in that quest. Another midrash says that Moshe wrote Hashem's name on the ineffable name Shem Meforash on a tablet of silver and threw it into the river, like practical Kabbalah, what it's called, and then the coffin floated. But I think this midrash is more powerful in the sense of there's a dialogue between Yosef and Moshe. Now, why is it Serah bat Asher that tells the story? That's an interesting. Where did they take it from? So here we see some kind of like the way the authors of the midrash were thinking. They had a problem with Serah bat Asher. Serah bat Asher is the only woman who is mentioned in all the censuses that were done in the desert. When Bnei Israel go to Egypt, there's of course Dinah bat Yaakov, he has one daughter, but of all the children of Yaakov of the next generation, third, fourth, fifth generation, no woman is mentioned. The only one is Yaakov's direct daughter Dinah, and then Serah bat Asher. And the Torah says that they had banim uvanot. Each one of them had sons and daughters, but no one is mentioned by name. We have very few women named throughout the Umash, from Shemot on. We know of Shalomit bat Divri, we know of Tzipora Eshet Moshe, we know of others, but none of them is mentioned in the census. But systematically, every time Bnei Israel are counted, the Torah says, Uvnei Asher, Yimna v'Yishva v'Yishvi u'Bri'ah, 4 men, v'Serah hachotam. So what was this about? Why is she so important? So the rabbis, either they had the tradition or they created the tradition. They said this Serah bat Asher must have been an important woman. She was a scholar. Now, in modern times, people who study ancient societies and contemporary, what we call traditional societies, can tell you, when they studied that the important traditions are carried from one generation to the next generation by the elders, and especially by the women. The women are a treasure of stories, of practices, and important knowledge also. That, for example, in Papua New Guinea, after a storm, there's only certain no, it's in the desert actually, in the Australian desert, probably one of these really isolated areas. The people say, if you want to know what to eat when there's an emergency, you have to ask the old lady, because she's the only one who survived from after the previous catastrophe, right? And she knows which types of food, of herbs you could eat. Even they have some problem, but you could still eat them. So the women carry oral tradition, and we also know it in Hebrew. We say it from Mishlei, Shema beni musar avicha ve'al titosh Torah imecha. Listen to the criticism or follow the guidance of your father, and do not abandon the Torah of your mother. Why is the Torah of your mother? Because the mother with the child constantly gives education and messages more than the written rigid law. It's the whole thing. So Serah bat Asher now becomes the symbol of the tradition that is passed orally from generation to generation, and it's perfect how she is described here. She's the one who tells Moshe, I still remember Yosef, and I know where he's buried, and because of that, you're now able to bring him out and close the deal and have the Geulah and start moving towards the exit, right? The Exodus. And there's another midrash about her, the previous midrash, that says that when the children of Yaakov, the tribes, when they discover that Yosef is alive, and now they're going back to Eretz Israel, and they want to tell Yaakov, they were concerned, how are we going to tell Yaakov? He's going to have a heart attack. He's going to die because of that. All of a sudden, after 20-something years, they come and tell him, your son is alive. He wouldn't believe them. So what they did, when they got to the place, they called Serah bat Asher, who was still a little girl, and they said, come, we want to teach you a song. And they taught her a song, and the song was, Od Yosef Hai. Yosef, my uncle, is still alive. He's the viceroy of Egypt. Okay, so they teach her until she it gets into her mind. And they say, now go play with grandpa. So she goes and play with him, and he plays with her to talk to her, and she starts singing the song. And he said, wait, what are you singing? What is that? She starts singing again. Where did you get it from? So then they found a way to break it to him, gradually. Where did you get it from? She says, my uncles taught me the song. He says, call them. Right? And then he talks to them, and then with all that, the Torah says, Vayafog libo, he fainted. It's a very beautiful story, but the gist of the story, the idea is common to both. She is the one who has a tradition about Yosef. She is able to get it to the next step. So that's why the idea is not necessarily that she did that, but that the women are the link that connects one generation to the other with their wisdom and knowledge. Then the Talmud takes it to the next level. It says that Serah bat Asher did not die, but she's alive forever, living in Gan Eden, in heaven. And among the Jews of Jerba, there's a tradition. They say that that Serah bat Asher went to visit the island, and the synagogue that they have called Al-Ghriba is named after her. So they have a song, Ana Ghriban Khafib al-Khair, الذي يجيني ويزورني إلي وأنا سرح بيت أشير دخلت للجنة وبعدي حياة. I'm the synagogue is saying it about itself. I'm the synagogue of Jelba. I'm sitting, with glory and fame, and I'm the place where Serah bat Asher visited. Serah, who went into the Garden of Eden while still alive. So it's a nice tradition about her.
Interesting that nobody named their daughter Serah.
No, actually, Iraqi Jews, I know several
Serah.
girls. Yeah, Serah.
She's, I guess, just not well known with the rest of the.
Not right. Not very common. Probably also because the word in the Torah, Serah is written with sin. But when you write it with samech, it means remainder. It appears in the Tanakh, in the Torah, in the description of the Mishkan, the fabrics or the parochet, there was the Mishkan. The Torah says Veserah ha'odev ba'iriot. The leftovers. So nobody wants to name his daughter leftovers. And later on, in modern Hebrew, Sarah, in Mishnah Hebrew, Sarah means to have bad smell. So that's why they abandoned the name. Nobody wants to name that name. But it used to be a more common name, Serah bat Asher. And then, to continue to conclude that story of Yosef, the Midrash says the following: Kol otan shanim שהיו ישראל במדבר, היו ארונו של יוסף וארון של שכינה, מהלכים זה עם זה. והיו עוברים ושבים אומרים, מה טבעם של שני ארונות הללו? They were carrying two arks, one is the ark of the covenant, right, the teva. The other one is the coffin of Yosef. And people say, עוברים ושבים, the passers-by, even though there's no traffic in the desert for people to come and ask. Of course, it's, like we said, this is the way the Midrash brings the reality to us. They say, what are those two coffins doing one by side? They say one is the body of Yosef, the other one is the divine providence. So people say, Mativo shel met etzel shekhinah. How can you put the living with the dead? This is the word of the living God, and this is a dead person. Why are they side by side? Amulaim kiyem ze kol ma shekatuv bazeh. This dead man, or the body, is of someone who followed all the concept of the Torah, that which is contained in the other ark. What is the idea of that? We know today we have the tradition not to study Torah in the cemetery or anything like that. But what the Midrash wants to say is that at the end of the day, the purpose of the Torah is not abstract. It's to change the way people live. So if Yosef, when he was alive, followed the Torah and mitzvot, he was able to promote this idea, to help the people of Egypt, but also to help his people, pave the path for them for redemption. And that is that the one is measured, when one's life is over, is measured by how much of the Torah he was able to keep it, not only in the Ben Adam Lamakom between us and God, but also Ben Adam Lahavero between us and other people.